It's Marcus here from Savvy Solutions, just putting a bit of light on the subject in this cold and rainy day. And this is this week's sales tip. So questions are of critical importance. We know that, of course. We've talked already about as salespeople, you want to be asking around 70% of the time. You want to be listening because you've asked a great question and you're now listening to the response, and the question should be designed at eliciting both emotion and logic, should be designed at eliciting information about the now or the past and the future moving forward, how they see it, how they hear it, how they feel the future moving forward. And if you've done a really great job on those two landscapes, then it's time to ask the next question, which is the most important sales question in my opinion, but bar none. Now, the key thing is, before I get to the question, it needs to be asked at exactly the right time. If you ask this question at the wrong time, it'll guarantee to fall flat and really get you nowhere. But if you ask it at the right time, it is perfect and it is incredibly powerful, because there are only two things that can occur when you ask this question. One of them is you'll receive an invitation from the client to promote who you are and what you do. The other thing is that they will share with you their hotspots and why it is that they want to do business with you. They're the only two alternatives. So am I right or am I right when I say that if you can ask a question where the only two outcomes are an invitation to promote who you are and what you do, or them share with you their hotspots and what is important to them when it comes to doing business with you, then that's going to be a phenomenal question, and that's going to serve your sales conversation tremendously well, so well. In the form of them asking you to promote you and your services, it's so critical, because if you just go into sharing about who you are and what you do out of order, out of sequence, at the wrong time, too early in the sales conversation, you come across like a promoter, you come across like a salesman. A lot of people have identity issues around a salesman and a promoter. They've been hurt or made look foolish in the past with certain salesmen, with certain promoters, and so they lean away. Their reptilian brain shuts down. They deem you as a threat to their survival, which in the modern day means that you want to have some time or some money off them, and you get nowhere. But it's a big difference when they actually invite you to share about who you are and what you do, because they've asked. So now your sharing is to help them. And because of that, because of the foundation that's been laid, they are 10 times more receptive to it. But again, it's so critical. This has to be asked at the right time, in the right tone, at the right point in your sales conversation. And if it is, then you're going to get that invitation. Could you please share with me more about who you are and what you do? Or they're going to actively promote you, or actively promote their hotspots to you, which is phenomenal, so helpful. And it's about 60% of the time they'll do that, and about 40% of the time they'll do the other. And the question is simply, how can I help? And you might want to pre-frame it with how specifically can I help, or you might want to pre-frame it even more by saying, look, I've kind of got a good indication at this point, but I am curious, how specifically can I help? There's a bunch of different ways you can ask it, but really that's what you're wanting to know. How specifically can I help you? How specifically can I help your business? How specifically can I help your situation? And all as you're doing is not assuming that you know, because at this point in the sales conversation, you might have a great idea and it might be accurate or it might be completely inaccurate. So checking in and finding out from them, how specifically can I help? I've got a pretty good idea, but I don't want to assume. I'm kind of curious. How do you see that I can help you guys? That's the best thing that you can ask. It's got to be at the right time, in the right tone, in the right order. And as long as it is, then what you hear next will determine your ability to close, which is in one of the upcoming frames. Very, very powerful stuff. Trust you've gotten value from this. And if you've got any questions at all, send me a comment below, or send me a personal message on Facebook, and I will cover off on those questions for you only too gladly. Have a cracking finish to the week in sales, and thank you for listening.